for your thinking and action instead of truth and love. Right? I would guess most of you have at least heard of this, but it's really amazing, and you ought to Google it some. There's thousands of examples and stories. I had a client one time who had I believe it was a kidney transplant. And it was successful, but after the kidney transplant, he had been a vegetarian, and now his favorite thing was Kentucky Fried Chicken. He had been a very calm and reasonable person and liked mellow music. Now he liked hard rock. He had been a very conservative person. Now he started dressing, he got a motorcycle and started dressing sort of in biker and more kind of He-Man stuff, okay? Well, guess what? He didn't have a heart transplant. He had a kidney transplant. But with the other person's kidneys, the donor kidneys, he started having memories from the donor's life that affected how he thought and what he did and his stress paradigm. Okay? People who receive organ transplants, they also receive memories from the donor. Some are conscious of them, some aren't. There are no brain transplants. All right? What does that mean? These memories are stored in cells all over the body. That's why they named them cellular memories. They've cut out every part of the brain, and the memories are still there. Okay? All sin is relational. Why? Because the hypothalamus is what determines fight or flight or peace and growth and health. Okay? The hypothalamus makes that decision not based on what happens in the world, back from that diagram we looked at when we started today. It makes that decision based on the issues of the heart of that person, their internal circumstances, not their external circumstances. And the thing it's scanning for is a love-based signal or a fear-based signal. Like your cell phone searches for my phone number, or a radio searches for a particular frequency that has country music or whatever it is. Your hypothalamus does that, looking for a fear or love-based signal, okay? And if it gets the fear-based, fight or flight, the love-based, oxytocin, endorphins, peptides, all those wonderful things, okay? Well, there is no love outside the context of relationship. It doesn't exist. And fear is the absence of love, all right? So that means where are fear? Relationships. Those are relationships. So if you keep digging down, no matter what the issue is, cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's, depression, there's going to be an unresolved relationship issue at the bottom of that somewhere. You need to heal it. Sometimes you need to find it. We can, I believe, help you do both. Okay? David Mills calls this property rights. And basically, in that paradigm, the only sin that exists is to violate someone's property rights. But you can violate their property rights from a distance. Remember the action at a distance thing with Einstein and the Department of Defense study in 1998 with the cells in the test tube? Okay? I'm positively or negatively affecting people around me virtually 24/7 in ways I can't see, all right? That energy going out to them, all right? So if I'm hurting them, that's violating their property rights, even if it's not physical, okay? So we want, now I'm not necessarily saying that's a sin because you're not intentionally wanting to hurt them, but it's probably a sin that you're doing that is hurting them. And that's what's being transferred to them. So sin and bad feelings go together. Okay, those bad feelings from our heart, from falsehood, from fear, from trauma memories that haven't been resolved, that are resonating that fear signal to the hypothalamus, that's also the source of sin. Out of fear, we do the sin for, one of a million reasons and violate our own or others' property rights. Okay. Stuck principles. If you feel stuck in your life, and I would guess people that come to me, probably 80% of them or 75% say, yeah, I feel stuck. That's either one of the reasons they're seeing me or the reason they're seeing me. Well, if you feel stuck, it's usually one of these things. Fear of success, fear of failure, fear of change, or fear of deserving. In other words, I don't deserve that success, even if there's no basis in reality for that belief. Okay? Chaos, we talked about that, which most of us think is bad, but it's really good because it opens up new neural pathways, gets us out of the box, and the only way we can get to the end result destination we want, love beyond imagination and our best life, is to go through chaos. You can't go around it, you've got to go through it. So it feels like stuck at first. Embrace it. No, this is an opportunity for a blessing and for me to be promoted and maybe even healed. Hang on, let time pass until you're through that chaos. And now you can do it without all the anxiety and now you have more clarity, right? The love factors from 1 Corinthians 13, the four loves of Jesus. The love A versus love B. Fake love versus real love. Fake love is really self-interest or selfishness. All right? So here's sort of a capsulization of that. If you accomplish everything except love, you're a failure. Your life is a failure. If you accomplish nothing but love, your life is a rip-roaring success, and you'll be celebrating it forever. Does that one little truth make you rethink some things? It sure did me. I hope it does with you. Some of you know, it's in one of my books, this story, that my birthday, July 7th, 1959, was supposed to be my mother's death day. The doctors told her after she had my older brother, don't ever get pregnant again or you will die from a medical condition she had. And she and my dad told me they took steps for her not to get pregnant with me, but lo and behold, they did. And so my mom was told when she found out she was pregnant with me, Mrs. Lloyd, we need to abort the baby. Back then, abortion was not legal. The only way you could abort is if the mom's life was in danger, and I don't remember then if you could abort for rape or not. You might have been able to, but I'm not sure. But the main one was the health of the mother. And so this qualified. So we need to abort the baby and you'll be just fine. She said, I'd rather die. So for 9 months, can you imagine, probably about 8 months, but after she found out, but can you imagine that? For 8 months every day, okay, I'm going to die in 8 months. I'm going to die in 6 months. I'm going to die in a week. I'm going to die tomorrow, okay? But then on the other hand, she experienced extreme love for me. She thought she would never see me even. And so every day she was talking to me. I love you, Alex. I love you. I'm not going to be there for you, but I love you. I'll be pulling for you, watching over you wherever I am, And I believe at the end of that pregnancy, she had made peace with death and was not afraid of death anymore. She told me that, okay? So at the end of that, she had diminished physical fear at the end of that because she'd made peace with it. and increased relational fear. I prayed with her on her deathbed the night before she died. She asked me if I would actually get up in the hospital bed with her and pray, and I did. The only thing she cared about was relationships. Me, my brothers, my father. That's all she cared about. It's all she prayed about. And then said, please let me die. I'm ready. And she was at peace. So she had diminished physical fear, but increased relational fear. With me, my whole life, I've had heightened relational fear and diminished physical fear. The exact same thing my mom had because of that situation at the end. And that's how I've been wired my whole life. They used to tell me I wasn't afraid of anything when I was growing up. Not a single thing. That a cherry bomb could go off right by my head and I would not be startled. I would look around when everybody else would jump. They said the only thing they ever found I was afraid of was one of those tree chipper things that, you know, when they're trimming trees and stuff, they put these huge limbs in and it makes that kind of noise, you know. They said that's the only thing they ever found I was afraid of. Well, that was because of what my mom went through in those 8 months and making complete peace with death and fear of death, but a heightened fear or priority about relationships. And that's how I'm wired 100% and always have been. You can ask my wife, my brothers, anyone. And I believe that's exactly where that came from. Well, what did your mother go through? What did your mother and father go through that was all passed down to you that's affecting how you're living your life? Well, you don't remember that. You may have had your parents tell you a thing or two, but I guarantee you, just like it's affected me all my life, and I really can't change that, although I wouldn't want to today, okay? I think that's the right priority. But most people don't get that, and you wouldn't want that because you wouldn't want your mom to die having you, right? Well, that's what it took. Now, she didn't die, but was supposed to. Okay, so how are you affected? And if it's for the negative, see, if this was reversed and my mom had increased physical fear and diminished relational fear, oh, that'd be terrible for me in my life. I've got to switch that or I'm going to fail all over the place. Well, that's what most people have. Increased physical fear, decreased relational concern. Unless they choose to change that once they get to 10, 12, 18, whatever. Okay, wireless biology. All wireless technology works by invisible energy. Cell phone, Wi-Fi, radio, way before cell phones. Everything. It's everywhere in the air, right? I mean, there's dozens of radio stations right